Hello, Lindsay here. I am from the Hot House, the Wilma Theater's resident acting company. I've had a lot of time to think on my hands, and I've been thinking a lot about past shows and the importance of theater, and just being able to reach out and touch a friend or hug a friend and have physical contact. We have those. It's a luxury in the theater to constantly being shows that and go see shows where you're in these communal spaces and experience something together and in large groups, and not just in theater but in plays, but also when you go to like sporting events or concerts, and being able to experience these events together is really wonderful. And I think a lot of people, I know I am certainly missing that contact, even just going out to a restaurant and enjoying a meal in a large group of people is nice. And hopefully, when we get through this pandemic, that we can have a new appreciation of what it means to be together in space with each other. It's been great to use these digital platforms of making a video like this, or Zoom, or meet up with Google, any of those virtual meeting rooms, and share experiences that way. And there's been a lot of new type of communication that way. But I'm definitely missing being able to sit across from a friend and share a meal, or just share a drink. And it got me thinking about this play Passage, which is a play by Christopher Chen, which is abstraction of Passage to India, the novel. And instead of India and England, it's country X and country Y. It's a very abstract world. But and it follows very much the story of Passage to India, but takes some liberties and makes it so it could be anywhere in the world. These two countries, there's a lot of different places that can be the colonizer and the colonized, and the relationship between those two people. And the character that I was playing in this play Passage was a doctor, one of the best doctors in the world, and still feeling like he is not getting the respect he owes as far as his prestige and his work. At least a lot of his fellow countrymen feel that way about him. Anyway, he's just had this experience early on in the play where his friends are fighting over whether or not it's possible to be friends with true friends with someone from the colonizing country. And it causes a rift in this friendship, and it really hurts him. And then he gets really talked down to by his boss, who is from this colonizing country, country Y. Don't worry about all that stuff. But he goes to this temple, which is the holy place in country X, and there is a spiritual leader there named G, and he's in this space, and it's just a really profound monologue. I'll just do it for you really quick, and then say a couple things afterwards. But G is in this temple, and B walks in and asks how he would describe this temple, and he begins. Well, when we come here, we agree that the rest of the world, all of its problems, poisons, complications, unite into a singular insignificance. We agree that they are insignificant in the face of the great cosmos. Yes, the great cosmos. The cosmos beyond, and also the cosmos within. This is the place where we return inside ourselves, to a place that is ours and ours alone. A place that is marked by childhood. Do you know what I mean when I talk about an interior place like this? Like, if I say valley, if I say green valley, okay, close your eyes. Please, try this with me. If I say green valley. Misty green valley by the shore, bordering a forest and a cabin on the edge of the forest. You can picture these things, right? And make them your own. And does this, okay, keep your eyes closed. Does this take you back to childhood? What I'm really asking is, does this process of picturing these things, valley, ocean, cabin, forest, of arranging them and making a continuous landscape, valley, ocean, cabin, forest, does this remind you of how you imagined things when you were a child? Okay, you can open your eyes. And so does this process then of creating and exploring your universe feel sacred in the same way that the innocence of childhood feels sacred? What's the link? Our imagination was more accessible back then, wasn't it? So were we more in touch with our inner selves back then? Before the job of displaying our outer selves became the thing? Is it simply because we didn't know as many people back then? Since as we grow older and become aware of more people, we see how many other universes there really are. And yet, wasn't there always this tiny kernel of hope back in the day in thinking that your interior universe was the one true universe? Wasn't the boundary between inner world and outer world more fuzzy, more negotiable back then? Does this ring true? Did you feel that as a child? How did I get here? Okay, so the temple is then a vessel in which you can return to that private universe deep inside yourself and explore it and call it sacred. Here, you feel it is not and never was a lonely place, because others come here too and remember childhood the same way you do. You feel communion with them, even if you can't see them. So it is communion between what is inside and what is beyond yourself. And this is what is called God. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that monologue. And, I remember when I first heard this monologue, I kind of like wept because, the act of theater is a very spiritual thing for me. And I'm kind of yearning that. But knowing that everybody's still practicing their imagination and using their imagination gives me a little bit of comfort that we're all kind of in this together and we're all dealing with it the best way we can, and that even though we're isolated, we don't have to be lonely, because we know that these walls are kind of artificial. They're just keeping the virus out. So I don't know. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm thinking of all you out there, and I can't wait to share the rest of this planet with you. All right, stay safe.